Hello, good morning friends. Today's our tutorial topic is 12th rib and body pelvis. So now friends, we will see the 12th rib. Now regarding its features, it has medial end and lateral end. Medial end is broader, lateral end is pointed. It has anterior surface and posterior surface. It has upper border and lower border. Now, this medial end articulates with the single facet over the lateral aspect of the body of the 12th thoracic vertebra. Here, over the medial end, there will be single complete facet which will articulate with the costal facet of the 12th thoracic vertebra. So remember here there is a single complete facet, while in case of other ribs there will be two facets which are separated by each other by a crest. Now in the border, upper border is somewhat rounded while the lower border is somewhat sharp. The anterior surface is smooth and concave while the posterior surface is convex and somewhat rough. So when we put in anatomical position, it will be like this. So anterior surface faces anteriorly and slightly upward. It will be like this. Now for side determination, we have to see medial end, lateral end, upper border, lower border. So upper border is rounded and lower border is sharp. Anterior surface is smooth and concave, posterior surface is convex and rough. So this is of right side. Now this one is left sided. See here, this is medial end, this one is lateral end, this one is upper border. You can see this one is somewhat rounded and lower border is sharp. The anterior surface is concave and smooth. The posterior surface is convex and rough. So this is of left side. Now you can see here, in between the vertebra and rib there is a formation of angle. So that is called as costovertebral angle. So here there is formation of angle. So this angle is related with the pleura. Now there is another terminology known as renal angle. So renal angle is formed in between the lower border of the 12th rib and the paravertebral muscle of the back. So at that point, almost here, there is a formation of renal angle. It is related with the posterior aspect of the kidney. It will be tender, so that point is very tender in case of inflammation of kidney. Now we will see the attachment over the posterior surface of the 12th rib. This one is the medial end, this one is the lateral end. This whole thing is posterior surface. This one is the anterior surface. Now over the posterior surface, in the medial half, there will be costotransverse ligament in the upper part near the medial end and lumbocostal ligament in the lower part near the medial end. The costotransverse ligament lies in between this upper part of the 12th rib and transverse process of the 11th thoracic vertebra, while the lumbocostal ligament lies in between this 12th rib and first lumbar vertebra. In the medial half, remaining part, upper part, there will be levator costae muscle insertion and longissimus and iliocostalis part of the sacrospinalis muscle. In the lateral half, we have origin of the latissimus dorsi muscle in the upper part, while in the lower part there will be serratus posterior inferior and external oblique of the abdomen muscle. Coming to the attachment over the lower border, here the lower border there will be middle layer of thoracolumbar fascia, then there will be lateral arcuate ligament. See here, we can easily see from the anterior aspect. So in the lower border anterior aspect there will be attachment of the lateral arcuate ligament that will lie lateral to the quadratus lumborum muscle. And lastly, at the lower border there will be lumbocostal ligament at the lower border. Now coming to the attachment over the anterior surface. So this one is the anterior surface. Here in the medial half lower part there will be attachment of the quadratus lumborum muscle and fascia covering that muscle. In the upper part there will be intercostal muscle attachment. In the lateral 1/3 part there will be attachment of diaphragm. The medial 3/4 part of the anterior surface of the rib is related with the costovertebral angle and costodiaphragmatic recess of the pleura. So friends, that's all regarding the 12th rib. So the next topic is bony pelvis. Friends, we will see the bony pelvis. We can see the bony pelvis is formed by the two hip bone and one sacrum. Below the sacrum there will be coccygeal vertebra. In the hip bone, each hip bone is made up of three components: pubic, ischium and ilium. The pubic lies antero-inferiorly, ischium lies posterior-inferiorly and the ilium lies superiorly. All three bones join at the level of acetabulum. So in the bony pelvis we have right and left hip bone and sacrum. The anteriorly pubic bone join with each other and form the symphysis pubis, its secondary cartilaginous joint. Posteriorly, ilium join with the lateral aspect of the sacrum to form sacroiliac joint, which is a plain synovial joint. So we have one pubic symphysis joint and two sacroiliac joint. Now the bony pelvis is divided into two parts, upper and wide upper false pelvis and lower true pelvis by pelvic inlet. This whole thing is pelvic inlet. The pelvic inlet is formed by the sacral promontory, anterior margin of ala of sacrum and linea terminalis and upper part of the pubic symphysis. In linea terminalis we have arcuate line, then iliopubic eminence, pecten pubis and pubic crest. So whole pelvic inlet is formed by the sacral promontory, anterior margin of the ala of sacrum, arcuate line, iliopubic eminence, pecten pubis, pubic crest with pubic tubercle and upper part of the symphysis pubis. So upper to that there will be false pelvis and lower to that there will be true pelvis. In the true pelvis there will be accommodation of the important viscera. So there will be bladder and prostate in case of male, while bladder in case of female. Then in the middle part there will be uterus in case of female. In the posterior part there will be rectum in case of male and female both. In the true pelvis we have pelvic inlet pelvic cavity and pelvic outlet. In broadly speaking, in case of female, the pelvic inlet, cavity and outlet, all three will be wider. Now we will see the anatomical position of the bony pelvis. The anatomical position of bony pelvis is like that. Anterior superior iliac spine and the pubic tubercle will lie in the same plane. So for that we will put a book in front of the pelvis and we have to check both are in the same plane. So it will be like this. Now you can see pubic tubercle and anterior superior iliac spine in the same plane. Now, so that pelvic aspect of the pubic bone, see here, will face posteriorly and upward. Then upper part of the sacral canal will face almost upward. The fourth point, this one is the pelvic inlet. The pelvic inlet will face forward and upward. So this plane will make 50-degree angle with horizon. So angle of the pelvic inlet will be 50-degree with horizon, while this one is the outlet. The outlet will form 15-degree, 15-degree with the horizon. Now friends, we will see the difference between the male and female pelvis. Male and female bony pelvis. Now first point regarding the shape of the inlet. The shape of the inlet of the male pelvis is heart shape. You can see this heart shape due to projection of the sacral promontory within the cavity. In case of female, you can see here it will be transversely oval, and here there is no such highly projection of the sacral promontory. Now the second point. Second point, in case of male, the false pelvis that lies above the pelvic inlet. So this one is the false pelvis. It is somewhat deeper than in case of female one. See here, in case of female, this false pelvis is not so deep as compared to the male. Now the third point is regarding the cavity. So this is the cavity which lies in between the inlet and outlet. The cavity will be narrower and deep. So deep means the distance between the inlet and outlet is more. In case of female, the cavity you can see it is wider. See, this is the wider, and it is shallow in depth. So from inlet to outlet the distance is somewhat lower than in case of male. Now coming to the fourth point. At the outlet, the ischial tuberosity is somewhat inverted and the outlet is narrower, while in case of female the outlet is wider and ischial tuberosity are everted. Now fifth point is regarding the sacrum. The sacrum in case of male is narrow and longer. So in the width it is narrow, in the length it is longer. While in case of female, the sacrum is wider in almost all throughout, and in the length is smaller. Now the sixth point is regarding the subpubic angle. So this one is the subpubic angle in between the two pubic arch. So that will be 15 to 20 degree in case of male, while in case of female again subpubic angle is wider almost 50 to 60 degree. So in all the points, in case of female, everything will be wide. Say for example, inlet is wide, cavity is wide, outlet is wide, and the subpubic angle is also wide. So that is the points regarding the male and female bony pelvis. So friends, now we will see some of the important muscle of the anterior abdominal wall over the skeleton of the bony pelvis. Here you can see two hip bone and sacrum. So they will make bony pelvis. Above the sacrum there are lumbar vertebra. Here you can see the 12th thoracic vertebra, and this one is the 12th rib that we have discussed. Now focusing over the hip bone, this one is the ilium. This one is the iliac crest, which is divided into two parts, ventral segment and the dorsal segment. The ventral segment again divides into three parts: inner area, intermediate area, and the outer area. Now we will see the attachment over the each one of them. Anterior superior iliac spine gives attachment to the inguinal ligament. So inguinal ligament extends from anterior superior iliac spine to the pubic tubercle. So it will be like this. It is nothing but the inferior free margin of the external oblique muscle aponeurosis. Now over the iliac crest, outer aspect. This one is the most outer aspect. Over the outer aspect, this one. So that is anterior to the tubercle of iliac crest. Here there will be attachment of the tensor fascia lata muscle. And over the tubercle of the iliac crest there will be iliotibial tract. Now in the whole length of the outer lip there will be attachment of fascia lata. Then in the anterior 2/3 part of the outer lip of the iliac crest there will be insertion of the external oblique muscle. So that is the muscle of anterior abdominal wall. Remember, here there will be insertion, and from here the inguinal ligament extends from anterior superior iliac spine to the pubic tubercle. Now in the posterior 1/3 part, here we are talking about the outer lip. In the posterior 1/3 part there will be attachment of the latissimus dorsi muscle. Coming to the intermediate area, this intermediate area, it will give attachment to the internal oblique muscle. And then coming to the innermost part, so innermost part, anterior 2/3, it will give attachment to the transversus abdominis muscle here. And medial to the transversus abdominis muscle there will be attachment of two fascia, fascia transversalis and fascia iliaca. Here you know there will be attachment of the iliacus muscle. So here there will be attachment of the fascia iliaca. Lastly, over the posterior 1/3 of the inner lip, here there is attachment of the quadratus lumborum muscle. This one. So quadratus lumborum muscle extend like this. It will extend from this inner lip to the 12th rib. It will be like this. So the quadratus lumborum muscle will form the posterior abdominal wall. From here, surrounding the attachment of quadratus lumborum, there will be attachment of thoracolumbar fascia. Now we have seen this ventral segment. Now we are turning toward the dorsal segment here. This one is the dorsal segment. The dorsal segment outer slope will give attachment to the gluteus maximus muscle. As we know, that is the muscle of gluteal region. And the inner slope, it will give erector spinae muscle. So it will be like this. So erector spinae muscle is the group of muscle of paravertebral region. Now as we have discussed, in between the 12th rib and paravertebral muscle, that is the erector spinae, here there is formation of an angle that is called as renal angle here in between the 12th rib and erector spinae muscle. So this renal angle is important clinical landmark. Here that area will be tender in case of there is inflammation of kidney. Now friends, coming toward the another muscle, that is the rectus abdominis muscle. So rectus abdominis muscle is the muscle of anteabdominal wall. Over the pubis bone, medial to the pubic tubercle, there will be pubic crest. So in the pubic crest, in the medial half, there will be crossing of the medial head of the rectus abdominis muscle, and in the lateral part there will be attachment of the rectus abdominis and pyramidalis muscle. So in the anteabdominal wall you will learn external oblique, internal oblique, transversus abdominis muscle and rectus abdominis muscle. So for today's topic this much is important. Thank you.